Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's happening. We've got an update regarding the Greenland situation. The United States is now conducting high level intelligence and spying operations on the island. And this is from the Wall Street Journal. Trump administration takes concrete step in push for Greenland. Sources say intelligence agencies have been tasked with ramping up spying. So, yeah. And I had said, and Trump had said a few days ago, that this would really start to escalate to a degree in terms of the United States. Now, this seems like it's a diplomatic approach when it comes to the spying based on the information they're trying to extract off of the island. Let's take a look at this and see and kind of guesstimate what the administration is going to do next when it comes to Greenland based off of this information. Amid the Trump administration's ongoing rhetoric regarding a possible takeover of Greenland, two sources tell the Wall Street Journal the U.S. is ordering its intelligence agencies to increase spying on the semi-autonomous Arctic territory. Specifically, the administration wants information on Greenland's independence movement, as well as how residents feel about the U.S. objectives on the island, including resource extraction, the sources say, by intercepting communications using surveillance satellites and gaining intel via actual spies on the ground. The agencies are tasked with identifying people in Greenland and Denmark who are friendly to those objectives. So you have two different things at play. Number one, the United States is wondering, and this was the thought when they had their election, which happened like a month and a half ago or 2 months ago, whenever it was, how quickly are they going to be in? How long is it going to take them to be independent, basically? That's the question. The party that won wants independence, but in a slow time frame. The party that came in second wants independence immediately. How quickly can it get done? That's the intelligence they're looking for. And then also on top of that, who are the people within Greenland that would be more sympathetic to the United States possibly taking over Greenland? It's very simple. What needs to happen, I think, is there needs to be, and this is all legal, you need to just bribe a lot of the officials. That's where you start. Because when you look at Greenland, it's 57,000 people. It's perfect. There's nobody there. It'd be very easy to convince these people. But you have to do it through the officials there. They've been manipulated by the proxy of being within the EU umbrella, because they're semi-autonomous, but they're partially controlled by Denmark. Denmark, part of the EU. There's a lot of negative MAGA Trump propaganda by the EU and by Europe in general. They're very liberal. They're very globalist. They don't want the United States to take control of Greenland. Although when you look at the recent stuff that's gone on, and I've done 2 videos about this now, about China possibly increasing control within Greenland. This is serious. There's been stories on this. Newsweek did a piece on it, talking about how Greenland went to China and said, we want to do a free trade deal with you because we know the United States is trying to box you out. This is serious stuff. The United States right now is saying, well, look, we have to find people within Greenland that are sympathetic to the idea of us taking them over. But there's also the thought to where you get the officials first, and then the officials inform the citizens, the Greenlanders, why a U.S. takeover is good. This is diplomatic, what Trump is doing with this spying right here, because he's saying, I want to know where their head's at. I want to find people that are sympathetic to the United States taking it over and getting out from under the Denmark umbrella. If Denmark was smart, they have zero leverage in this situation. It's already been decided. Greenland wants to be independent of Denmark. If they didn't have TDS, they would sell Greenland to the United States and just say, we want our $20 billion or however much it ends up being. But instead, they're going to lose Greenland for nothing. That's what I predict. If they were smart, they'd say, you know what, let's just take this money. Now, I don't even know if the United States would do that, honestly, because they have zero leverage. Denmark does. You know, if they're obsessed with all these countries, oh, it's self-determination, there's no imperialism. Well, then why do you still control Greenland when they want to be independent of you? It's very clear in the parties that won their recent election, they don't want to be controlled by you. So then why don't you let them be independent? And I'm not even blaming Denmark, honestly, because Denmark gives Greenland money. They help their GDP and their fishing industry and the trade. I understand all of that, but they want to be independent. So you can't kind of play both sides to where the United States is big, bad, and evil for trying to take over Greenland, who doesn't want to be taken over by the United States. But all the people also don't want to be ruled by Denmark, but Denmark still controls them. So see how they play both sides. They want to control Greenland, even though Greenland wants to be independent. But then when the United States tries to do it, and by the way, any metric you look at would show the United States is 1,000 times more capable of controlling and securing Greenland than Denmark is. That's obvious. And also geographically as well. Look at how close the proximity Greenland is to North America versus Europe. It's right to the east of Canada. It's very, very close. You've got Baffin Bay, you've got the Davis Strait. It's right next to, and then the Northwest Passage, it is right next to Nunavut. So even geographically, it makes way more sense for the United States to control Greenland. It's not even like, oh, we're going in and we're trying to take a northern territory of Norway or something. So that's really the situation. And you can see the Journal calls it one of the first concrete steps Trump's administration has taken towards fulfilling the president's often stated desire to acquire Greenland. Trump said he wouldn't rule out military force to seize the island. They don't have a military. If France wants to fight us on Greenland, that would be an absolute disgusting move by France, part of NATO. We would leave NATO, that's just, that's not, there's no way that would happen. The only people that could defend, there's no defense of Greenland, but the only people that could defend Greenland from the United States would be those European countries. It would be the UK, France. They seem to be in bed together when it comes to the Russia-Ukraine situation, so maybe they would do something. But the general thought here is that we would secure the island. There's no fighting. Greenland does not have a military. They have 57,000 total people. So, would Denmark send people to fight? Well, you see what I'm saying? It just doesn't make any sense. And also, where it's located. But when it comes to Greenland, to me, this is Trump saying we want to do it diplomatically still. If it comes to it, at a certain point, it's a line in the sand and we have to take them over. We have no choice. There's stories coming out about China influencing. This is how dumb liberals are. Liberals say, oh, you can't take them over. You're disgusting. Liberals will actually point to Greenland as like one of the worst things that, I didn't even know this until I started listening to them. They'll say that it's like, well, why is Trump this horrible fascist? They're like, he wants to take over Greenland. That's what they say. Oh, no, you're right. Trump's big, bad, and evil. Let's just let China take him over. And it's all soft power. All those people are so dumb. They think, well, they're not technically taking over. They don't technically have control of the Panama Canal, so Trump can't do anything about it. Well, yeah, it's Belt and Road soft power. They actually utilize soft power. US aid is not soft power. Giving countries is like, we're spreading democracy into African countries. Well, then, do we get any cobalt out of that? No. China does through Belt and Road. That's what actual soft power is. Soft power is creating a free trade deal with Greenland, and Greenland this is in the article, Greenland tells China, you're going to have Arctic influence. Oh yeah, that's exactly what NATO wants, is China to have Arctic influence in between North America and Europe. Yeah. But then they'll say, oh my God, he's a fascist. He wants to take over Greenland. No, you're right. Let's just let China have full influence over the Arctic. The Arctic's going to be even liberals now admit and say, well, yeah, the United States is going to have control of those northern Canadian territories that are sparsely populated because of the Northwest Passage. There's going to have to be some type of extra relationship between the U.S. and Canada to be able to secure the passage, because Canada can't do it. They don't have the military. They're spread way too thin as it is. They've got no population up there anyways. The United States has a much better chance at building the proper infrastructure and the proper ports and to be able to secure that area. But it's like we can't do anything because it's imperialistic. Really? Well, then let's just let China utilize their soft power. This is the same thing with the Panama Canal. It's the exact same thing. So Trump is trying to be proactive. He's trying to say, well, listen, this is not going to happen. And see how we can use the propaganda that China's going to take it over. Yeah, exactly. That's what we can do. It's just like when Putin invaded Crimea. Well, it's because they overthrew the pro-Russian government, so we can do this. You have to kind of say, well, it's because of X, that's why we can do Y. China is influencing their control. So are the Russians. So we have to secure it. It's called securing the island. That's what we're going to be doing. And that's what I think Trump wants to do. But the reason Trump said, well, there might be military is because we've tried with these people. We've been very nice and they just won't budge. So there's going to have to be some show of force or something. At a certain point, it's just there's nothing going on. They said they wanted to become independent. So then is there any actual steps taken for them to become independent? They've got partial autonomy in 2009. But it's like, what's the next step? Are we going to actually move on this? So that's what Trump is saying. He's like, I've got 3 or 4 years to do this. Let's get something going. So now they're starting the first step. They're wrapping up spying. This is when you start bribing the officials. You start getting the officials on your side, and then have the officials pump the propaganda to the people of Greenland and say, the United States is going to give you so much. We're going to give you $10,000, $20,000 in a check to join, and we're going to sign a exclusive mineral deal with you guys, just like we did with Alaska. You remember Alaska was originally a territory for a long time. They didn't have the population. We bought it from the Russian Empire, and it wasn't annexed. We bought it. And so we would like to buy Greenland as well. And that's more of a diplomatic thing. But then with Alaska, it's like, we agree with the citizens of Greenland, you will get a cut of the resource extraction. You're getting nothing. You're not extracting any resources. There's billions and billions of dollars of untapped rare earths, uranium, iron ore, and gold, zinc. So there's a lot of stuff, but it really is the rare earths and others. And so that's like, also we have the mineral deal with Ukraine. So think about what Trump's doing with these rare earths. It's amazing. And it's important in terms of the refinement. People always get mad. Why do you always talk about refinement? Well, because technically rare earths they're not rare in the sense of, well, China just is lucky in terms of they have all the deposits. No, the deposits are all over the place. We just can't refine them like China can for a number of reasons. But now we're investing money into refinement. Trump's like 10 steps ahead of liberals on this. I mean, this is like, he's just running circles. Like, even Obama reopened the main extraction deposit within California in 2010. He said, we have to do it. China's lapping us in terms of rare earths. We have to be able to extract them. So they closed it in 2002 under W. Bush. They reopened it in 2010. That's real. So see, Trump really understands the rare earths. He realizes the refinement's important. He said, well, it's about $15-20 billion we're going to invest into refinement. And we're also going to have diversification within rare earths. That's why we've got this deal with Ukraine. That's why we're going to be taking over Greenland. And then again, they'll say, well, Trump's a horrible fascist because he wants to take over Greenland. Seriously? You're joking. After everything that we've gone through with Greenland, after we defended them during World War II, we've given NATO $180 billion. They can't give us Greenland. We've given you almost $200 billion in military aid to protect Europe. We can't get Greenland in return. Seriously? We've given you everything. We can't get a massive island that's covered in a sheet of ice. So see, this is what we're talking about. And you can see this article right here. I don't have, it's paywalled or whatever, so that's why I had to use this other one. But this is the big stuff. U.S. intelligence agencies to step up spying on Greenland. We want to get a sense of what's happening there. We start bribing these people. It's all legal. Just whatever. Just bribe them. There's 57,000 people. It's 57,000 people. Turn them against the EU. Start the propaganda campaign. And by the way, they're lucky Trump is nice. Otherwise, if this was a more hardened leader, it would just be a straight up securing the island, which is, they'll say, oh, it's a military invasion. No, it's not classified as an invasion because there's no military to fight. It's more of a security against foreign powers like China. And by the way, they want to do a military, they want to do a free trade agreement with China. Greenland does. Seriously? What does Denmark think of that? Oh wait, Denmark, it's a joke. Denmark's got enough problems with their own country. They should focus on their own country instead of giving money to Greenland, but they're obsessed with like owning Greenland, and they say, well, it's a historical thing. Well, yeah, it was historical when you got you got invaded by Nazi Germany. We had to control and secure Iceland and Greenland. And Trump doesn't even want Iceland, he just wants Greenland. So this is really the first step for Trump. We're finally getting somewhere, but let's have these people understand. It's like, oh, the healthcare and all this. It's 57,000 people. It's 57,000 people. We can give these people a lot better of a situation. You're not going to see a bunch of Americans moving to Greenland. That's not how it works. Their way of life is going to improve. We're not going to inundate them with 1 million Americans. Over time, they're going to be grandfathered in. They're going to be a territory. They're going to have full security. We're going to have bases set up. We're going to have infrastructure built up. And it's such a sparsely populated area. And this is why, people People like me, we're so anti-war, and we just want there to be peace everywhere. And so that's why we try and acquire these territories to keep them safe. It's not gaslighting. This is serious. I mean, we're trying to keep it safe. But I said this is why I don't even want Canada. I said, well, maybe Alberta if they wanted it. But the reason that we want Greenland is because it's 57,000 people. When you have a population that small, that's already, they say, oh, it's semi-autonomous. They're controlled by Denmark. They've already got a weird relationship in terms of they don't have their own sovereignty. Well, then we're talking about a unique opportunity. So when you have a unique opportunity like this, and you have someone like China that is already trying to encroach, yeah, this is exactly what Trump wants to. He's going to secure the island at some point, I think. I mean, he's moving on this. They're starting to do this is phase one. It's just typical. It's protocol. Phase one, it's the intelligence gathering. It's the propaganda machine. And so this is how it'll start. Because those people do not want to be American citizens. And so there has to be a swing to be able to pump the propaganda in and change their minds, because they said, no, we don't want Vance to come here. You're not welcome. And well, I mean, we're not welcome. We have a military base within Greenland. You remember that when we secured Greenland during World War II? They're just very ungrateful. So we've done so much for Greenland. We've done so much for Europe. We've given you $200 billion. We can't get one island. $200 billion. Does Denmark like the money that we've given Ukraine? You know, Ukraine has only lost 1/6 of their country. Only 1/6 against big bad Russia. I think a lot of that has to do with the United States giving them $200 billion. We've got a good relationship with Ukraine. Wonder if Europe knows that. We've got a great minerals deal with Ukraine. And we're looking for a ceasefire now. So, yeah. But listen, when it comes to this, we'll see what the next step ends up being. But I think this is good stuff. And people are like, well, it's not real. It's never going to happen. But now they're starting to change their minds. They're saying, well, maybe the Greenland stuff, he's serious about it. He's been saying it for a while. Yes, he trolls with Canada and some other things, but he's serious about the Panama Canal. I don't know exactly what Trump wants to do with the Panama Canal. It does seem like he may just want to take over the canal. Originally, I thought he wanted Chinese influence out, which honestly is what I believe they accomplished, because they got China to sell the 2 ports, and then Beijing blocked it because they were owned by Hong Kong, and Beijing said, no, you're not selling them to BlackRock for $23 billion. I don't know what happened with that deal, but it seems like he actually just wants to take over the Panama Canal, or there'll be some type of negotiation to where U.S. ships can go through the canal and face 0 tolls. That could be another thing that happens. What I would think is we want more influence within the canal. And we know that what China was doing was in full violation of the Monroe Doctrine. It's Latin America. They can't have influence there under any circumstance. So do liberals want to argue that? Yeah, they probably would. They'd probably say we have to let China... No, it's let China have their soft power over everywhere. The next thing is going to be in Canada. They're going to be like, well, we should allow China to take over Canada. And if you do anything, it's like we have to let China take over everywhere with soft power. And if we do anything, we're fascist. We can't respond. Trump's not allowed to respond. He's not allowed to respond to Greenland. He's not allowed to respond to the Panama Canal, where they buy up both ports. Oh, technically they don't own the canal. Yeah, Panama owns the canal. They own the ports, so they track U.S. ships and the cargo ships and the amount of supply the U.S. has going from the Atlantic to Pacific and vice versa. Trump's 10 steps ahead of these people in terms of all of this. Not even just taking over Greenland or the Panama Canal, but rare earth diversification. So think about it. But the Greenland thing is inevitable. It's going to happen, and people are going to be angry about it. I mean, this is China is going to take it. We just use the narrative that China's going to take it over, and you can fearmonger it, because you have to kind of say something. Otherwise, you'll come off like, oh, you're just taking over countries. Well, well, what about Denmark controlling Greenland when Greenland wants to be independent from Denmark? Do you support that? It's always bad when we do it, but when other countries do it, it's not bad. I know they have a historical claim to it. That's great. Unfortunately for Denmark at this point, we've got China influence within Greenland. Greenland is located right next to North America. This is our geographic footprint. So we have a right to defend that area and we have a right to defend the Arctic. And look, maybe it even is a situation to where we take over the northern part of Greenland. I don't know. We want control of the Arctic. And right now we only have a presence in Alaska when it comes to the Arctic Circle. So we're trying to improve that. But I don't know what Trump wants to do. But either way, guys, this is the big stuff. U.S. is upping the spying. Guys, make sure you like this video down below. That's going to do it for this one. Also follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.